I had to be here that day. You know, it was pretty bad. I cry every day, my wife cries every day, and that will never get better. We'll stop crying when we die. I do understand that.
What happened to me in Bali has definitely made me a stronger person.
At a tranquil ranch in Texas, trauma specialists from around the world are gathering. Their purpose, anything but tranquil. Over the next 2 days, these experts will grapple with the horrors of terrorism, the psychology of the fear it instills, and strategies for managing it. It was Thursday, August the 9th, 2001. A suicide bomber shattered the peace of a lunchtime crowd. Many children died, among them a 15-year-old girl, Malky Roth.
I don't know, when our neighbor came over and told us that there was a 15-year-old girl in the operating room and they don't know who she is, I sat down and I was just sure that that's Malky. I was positive, and I was just expecting the phone call from my father calling home and saying, "It's Malky, she's going to be okay."
Malky was an angel. She was the most wonderful person you could ever imagine, and somebody blew her up. And the children know that. They understand that very well.
Literally, hundreds of thousands of people had such severe reactions in the first 3 months that they qualified for a post-traumatic stress disorder diagnosis. Tells you that the immediate reaction to the 9/11 attacks was one of overwhelming shock and fear and horror.
Randall Marshall, director of the New York State Psychiatric Institute, was one of 3 delegates at the International Assembly who were at the epicenter of New York's psychological reconstruction. But the sheer scale of the 9/11 attacks, 3,000 lives lost, meant there was literally a crying need for hundreds of trained counselors with trauma expertise.
And the goal was to quickly train a cadre of mental health clinicians with various backgrounds to be trauma experts who could then treat patients, but more importantly, give trainings and lectures throughout the city.
This is Jake, this is Jesse, and this is Maddie.
On the upside, the unconventional smile retrievers were able to complement the work of trained trauma counselors.
Well, when we saw the towers come down, my wife and I, we wanted to do something. We wanted to help anybody or anything. We didn't know what to do. But we knew we had therapy dogs, and we decided we would just come into Manhattan and find our way around and just find people. It was very easy because every place we went, people were crying. We would sit with someone who needed counseling, with the counselor and the dog. And they would pet the dog and actually talk to the counselor about their personal feelings, about losing their loved one, or how they felt about 9/11.
The world becomes unpredictable, uncontrollable, dangerous, and unjust. And
Ronnie Berger from Natal, the Israel Center for Victims of Terror and War, says it's worse for children.
And even more painful for kids is the sense that the adult world, and particularly the parental world, betray them. The notion is that parents and adults are supposed to protect us. They don't do that.
You often say to your child, there, everything will be okay. Don't worry. We're taking care of things. Everything will be okay. Or things will work out. We can't really say that to our children anymore.
It is sad and scary that we do have things like this going around, and it could happen. It could happen to anyone, but
Scared and hurt, the children tried to express their fear and pain.
There wasn't really anybody I could let it out on, so I was just angry and myself inside. And then sometimes it was like, I don't know,
you just had a tantrum, and then it came out in us. But
in Israel, more than 1,000 families have lost a close relative in the Intifada that started in the year 2000. Many have set up charitable foundations to honor the dead and support survivors.
Terrorism is aimed at society, at disrupting society, trying to get to the way society is organized.
So the well-being of a country needs to address all levels of society.
So when you think about solutions to the psychology of fear and terror, I think, well, you have to look at a very broad issue, which I call social resilience. And when I say social resilience, I mean that we have to strengthen all aspects of society that are protective and that help us carry fear and be able to function with the fear, and also be able to relax and maybe feel less fear.
Before leaving, some Assembly delegates linked up on joint research projects. Their days of deliberation and debate led finally to a menu of strategies based on their shared ideas for managing the psychology of fear and terror.
My premise was to create an international dialogue and an international community to try to find ways to help the everyday person not be paralysed by fear. It's as simple as that, not be paralysed by the fear of terror.